Hello, Kansas and Western fans. It's time for episode number 32 of the construction of the Kansas and Western HO scale railroad. For the last 2 weeks, I've been working on the Royal Gorge Route again, per the poll results for the last voting period. So we're going to see how I've done. And as you can see there, I have almost the entire backdrop completed, at least down here for the wall. Still have yet to do that corner. I thought I was going to be able to get that done. But when I did my how I paint rock face video, I was working on this section down here and realized when I was talking in the video that I usually only do about 2 or 3 feet of painting at a time just because of how much time and effort it takes. And then when I looked down here at the corner, I realized, well, that's easily 6 to 9 feet. So no way I was going to be able to get all that done. But I've got a good section here, basically sealed, gaps filled. I still have to do some embankment building and whatnot to kind of smooth out those edges, but then that'll be the next section that can be painted, and then just got to finish around here. But the carving is pretty much done, just got to fill joint gaps and stuff like that there. But I took a little break from that yesterday and decided to try my hand at doing some more detail work, and this is what I came up with all those different rocks that I bought. And then one of my viewers last period suggested some aquarium rock. So I got a couple different types of that. So that's a blend of aquarium rocks, landscaping rock, because my wife found a bag of really small landscaping rock that's all nice and sharp edges and whatnot. So basically what this is erosion control along the tracks. Where the tracks were laid next to this, I guess, cliff face, this is all a gorge. So if you can imagine the right-hand side being a wall too, the river cut this, obviously hundreds of thousands, millions of years, whatever. And then the railroad, basically made room on one side. And the other side, I think, was the Colorado Southern, and now it's Highway 50. But anyway, so some parts, there is actual hard rock that goes right down to the water surface. But other parts, you can tell where the railroad, and here's some pictures. They probably had to put in some of that erosion control, and so that's what I'm trying to simulate. And obviously I have to add some vegetation and whatnot there, and then there's other parts there you can see where it's just solid rock. So I'm trying to simulate some sections of that here where I've carved, and I have more carving to do. That doesn't look very good. And then here where I've just got that primer coat put on. So I'll probably do maybe a couple more of those. I'm not sure yet, but I wanted to see how this rock would look, and I'm pretty happy with it. One of the aquarium colors that I got was some mixtures of grays and blues, but I found that was pretty easy to paint over because someone else recommended if you don't like the color of the rocks, just paint them, and that worked just fine. I just kind of did it with a wash, and so that looks a lot better because I got rid of all the dark gray colors. So it's a blend, which you can see in the photos here. There is also a blend, some tans, some light grays. So that's what I'm going for, and eventually this whole bank would be covered with that all the way down, minus a couple spots where I decide to carve. And then the same thing would happen here on the highway side, but I still have more carving to do because that's too sharp a drop off. So I have to work on that some more, but I'm trying to work on the backdrop first because I do a lot of leaning on the foreground for obvious reasons. So I don't want to do any finish work on that yet until I finish the backdrop, including the track. So that's what I've gotten done. And then this little water seepage area, someone mentioned that they didn't really like the green, and I never really explained. The green is supposed to be moss. Now maybe it's too heavy, maybe it's too light, maybe it needs some actual vegetation added, but that's what the point of it was. Whether it worked out or not is definitely up for individual judgment. And then another viewer recommended I use gloss Mod Podge to kind of simulate the water. So I did that last night. But even on close inspection, maybe you can see a little bit of gloss in there. I'm not sure. I might try that again. I try to go really light with it because I'm not trying to simulate a waterfall. I'm just trying to do water seepage. So might have to work on that some more, but it was worth a shot. Anyway, so that's what I got going for these last 2 weeks. I think the wall ended up a little bit too dark, a little bit too much gray. So I'm going to probably go back over that again with another tan wash, just to lighten it up a little bit. But otherwise, I'm pretty happy with the results. If the Gorge Route wins again, I'll probably just try to get that corner done and then call that good for now. But anyway, we will do a full tour for any new viewers out there and for reminders for everyone on the voting options. So we'll follow the Gorge Route around here into Canon City, where I still have to work on that Colorado Rock and Gravel company there, where the silos are. And you got the station here in Canon City for the Royal Gorge Route Railway, and going to work on a downtown scene behind the tracks there. And then there'll be a transition here, probably a wooded area, where it will go into the Portland cement plant, where I still have to add probably a small office. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do in this foreground area between the tracks. I almost thought maybe I should have laid 1 or 2 tracks, but they wouldn't have been very long, so I didn't think that was really worth the effort. So I might do some aggregate piles here. Maybe this is partially a Portland cement / gravel company, I don't know. Not sure. Maybe some equipment, if I can find some HO scale front end loaders and large dump trucks. Maybe I could park them there, but not sure what I'm going to do in the foreground. And then here for the transition through the backdrop, I'm going to make that into some hill cuts and some trees just to kind of hide those portals a little bit. You're not supposed to be able to see those, but that's the intent there. And then managing to stay organized. Once you get organized, it's a lot easier to stay that way. So the desk is still fairly clean. And so is the ledge here where I've stored a lot of stuff. It's a lot easier to find, so it's work a little more quickly. And then moving around here to Pueblo, again, we'll work on this scrapyard / steel plant here. Trying to simulate this scene here, lots of scrap piles. I found this scrap pile a month ago or so. Probably needs a little paint because it's pretty nondescript about what it is. You can see some details in there, but need to add a little bit of color to that. And then one of these scrap loads here in the gondola, probably get a few more of those. And then this will transition, and it's been a long time, but if you can see the sketchings there, there's supposed to be a hillside here on either side of the main line to kind of hide the transition from La Junta Yard over into Pueblo. So that's some more scenery work that needs to be done just to kind of hide the fact that these two things are literally a couple hundred scale feet from each other when there's obviously a couple dozen miles in reality. And then down here to La Junta, just need to start working on track and a commercial backdrop back there. I have a few ideas for commercial backdrops from railroadbackdrops.com or something to put back there, so I could pursue that. And I still have to finish this loading dock here and another section of the highway bridge, so it comes from the backdrop all the way to the foreground there. And then this will be kind of a small river area crossing. Might do a trestle bridge over that or something, I'm not sure. And another transition, probably another tree area, a little wooded area to hide that transition here into Lamar, where we've got another station. And then this steam locomotive that's on display. And several structure kits I still need to work on to fill this scene out. And then wrap around here to Holly. Obviously the backdrop's in place, just have several more structures to complete. And you can see the scene here again. That's what I'm trying to accomplish. And then from Holly, transition up the helix into the Holcomb power plant area. Lots of work to be done there. All this helix edge is going to be totally hidden. You won't be able to see any of that once it's complete, or any of that. And then into Garden City. Several structure kits still needed to add here. Lots of vertical tanks. You can see these two businesses are actually right next to each other in reality. You've got this one here, which I think this one makes animal feed. And then just on the west side of Garden City, that's where these are located. And then I think this one is some kind of a fuels depot. And I have to go back and look on Google to get these straight, which one is which. And I still obviously need to make labels on the layout to keep identifying these things properly. But that's the intent for this scene here. Now we move down to Charleston elevator. Still a couple kits needed to build and buy here. And obviously a lot of detail to flesh this elevator out. That's the actual elevator in reality. And we'll wrap around here to Wichita Industrial Park. I think I'm going to put a pond here in the foreground just to try some different kind of a water feature, and then hide it with trees, or hide the tracks and the transition with some trees in the background. And then we move into the Wichita Industrial Park. Lots of structures to build yet here. And the final spurs I haven't even finished laying because I want to make sure they work with whatever structures I end up putting in. And there's an example there. And the Wichita area around the yard has lots of grain elevators, at least a dozen, maybe more. So a lot of this backdrop is going to be probably photos or backdrop, commercial backdrop of elevators in the background, because that's what the reality is. And over there will be a transition with more elevators, except I'll build actual structures to represent that, to hide at least partially this transition between the yard and then over there across to the other part of the layout. And then the BNSF side of the Wichita yard. And during the last voting period, the weekend, I said I was going to work on laying ties just to kind of fill the time during the poll. And I managed to get all the ties, all the filler ties laid for the entire main line for top and bottom levels. So I did get that done. The next task regarding ties would be just to finish out each scene. And this end of the Wichita yard is all done, but you can see here's gaps here and a lot more on both sides. So I still have to work on that. I won't have a lot of time to work on the layout this weekend. So what time I do have, I'll probably still continue working on putting those filler ties in, just because it makes it a lot better. And then I think for next week's operations video, I think I'm going to do another cab ride video, because it's been, I want to say, since March since I've done one of those. And there's obviously a lot more work has been done. I'm totally excited to see the cab ride video of the Gorge Route, to see how that scenery looks up close and from a track perspective. So probably going to do that next week. And then here, we still have to put actual backdrops in, the masonite in, to fill this corner up somewhat. Probably not going to do much here. Maybe some trees. It's just a transition from Wichita over here to Towanda. And then oil field here. And I'm actually working on a partnership of sorts with a company that makes 3D model kits. And it turns out that they make a tank battery kit. And that's supposed to be in the mail. I'm going to do more detail when that arrives and talk more about that when that arrives. But looking forward to that. Looking excited about that. I've never had any 3D kits before. I never worked with them, so I'm excited to see how that looks. But this company sounds very interesting. But again, I'll do a special video just on that, hopefully next week once that arrives. So look forward to that. Let me transition here into El Dorado. A small yard here and 2 chemical plants. These two are also right next to each other in reality. BG Products and Barsol Chemical. And then that transitions here into the El Dorado refinery. Oodles and gobs of work left to do here. And then on the back side, you got this transition here with this lift out bridge in front of the breaker box over to Union Tank Car Company. And still need to add a backdrop along this wall to hide the blinds. But otherwise, all this is laid and structure is built. So that's the tour of the layout. Although I just remembered, I promised somebody probably a month ago that I would talk more about staging, because it's been a long time since any of this has been seen. I kind of built it and forgot about it. I don't actually use it right now because I don't have a lot of running stock to use it. And I don't have any real operating sessions, but here is the other level of staging along with the spaghetti mess of wires. If I could stick that in there. But you can see the staging yard there runs along this whole wall, and then the track wraps around underneath. Still accessible, but well hidden, so because you're not supposed to see part of that part of the railroad, but it works really well. I'm not sure if I'll put that in the next cab video, because honestly, it's not terribly interesting to run through hidden staging, but we'll see. Anyway, so that's the tour of the layout. Again, we'll conduct the poll for this weekend to see what you all would like to have me work on for the next 2 weeks. I'm honestly indifferent about working on the Gorge Route again. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't getting a little bit burned out on it, but at the same time, I really want to see that corner done, to have this whole backdrop done. And after doing this little test section of rock, I really want to see that whole section done to see how it looks. And I need to add more in the background too, because there'd be a lot of rock down there on the other side of the tracks. And then obviously weather and ballast the track. So I'm split 50-50. If you guys want to see the gorge work continue work on the gorge, that's fine with me. If you want to see something different, doesn't make any difference. So whatever you guys would like to vote on, put it in the comments below. Voting ends on this coming Sunday night at midnight, U.S. Central Time. And then Monday afternoon, I will do a review and work plan video to share the results of the poll and then discuss what I plan to work on for the next 2 weeks. So add your vote in the comments below. And everybody, have a good weekend, and thanks for watching.